That's what's up. Badass. Tino.
Jeez. Pronouns are he, him, and his.
Oh, you're gay, huh? That's cool. My cousin buying shit.
I think you're supposed to say queer.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to let you know that I don't got a problem with no queers.
Gender identity and sexuality are two different things.
Since Alora's departure, things have become messed up, with Cheese spending a lot of time with his cousin uncle, Charlie, and Bear still talking to that spirit, William Knifeman. Bucky, meanwhile, has been having problems with his white wife while Officer Big is still investigating his Bigfoot and Catfish Heads case. Because Alora left with Jackie, she has become a sworn enemy to the Rez Dogs, with Willie also believing that all the problems happening in their lives are because she used Jackie's hair to curse her, and that the bad luck is now returning to them tenfold. Willie's suspicions grow stronger when the group's hideout is sold to a Texas rancher. Although Bear doesn't believe in curses, he goes along with everything Willie suggests. Uncle Brownie, who was their last hope in breaking the curse, refuses to help the kids, instructing Willie to go back to whoever put on the curse. Meanwhile, Alora and Jackie are on their way to California when their car's engine gives out, forcing them to take a lift from a weird stranger. Things then take an ugly turn when the man changes the car's direction, intending to take the girls elsewhere. However, Jackie sprints into action, kicking the guy in the face and instructing Alora to stab him with the knife they just bought from a gas station. With their quick thinking, they manage to save their lives, but end up losing their bags and everything inside them, including the cash Alora had been saving for California. Back in town, Willie visits the same shaman man from the bar, but he also refuses to help, saying that this is beyond his powers. Before taking help from another conjurer, Willie needs Jackie's hair again so they can use them to lift the curse on her. When they talk to Auntie B about the hair, Bucky overhears their conversation and agrees to help them. He instructs them to look for anything Jackie owns. In order to get Jackie's stuff from her Aunt Bev, Willie visits the hospital where she works, but to no avail. She then texts Cheese about Bucky's help, and when Uncle Brownie learns that his old adversary is assisting the kids, he changes his mind, aiming to break the curse with his own ways. With no option left, Willie visits the NDN Mafia, Bone Thug Dog, Wheeze, and White Steve, and informs them about the situation. It turns out they also have been noticing weird things happening to them over the past week. Wanting to get rid of the curse, the gang members decide to help Willie by giving her anything they have of Jackie. Uncle Brownie then offers a solution for Willie's ongoing problem and instructs her to head to the river tomorrow morning. Unwillingly, Bucky also agrees with the idea as it seems the right choice that will surely break the curse. On the road, Alora and Jackie are tired of running away without a car, food, and even water. Luckily, a woman approaches them and invites them over for lunch. She tells them that she is divorced and her kids are off to college, so her house is mostly empty. After learning the girls are running away, the woman offers them to stay the night, which they gladly accept. While Alora dreams about Daniel, who is disappointed in her for not taking him to California, Jackie takes the opportunity and steals the woman's car. Unwillingly, Alora goes with the flow and ends up betraying the woman who gave them food and shelter when they needed it most. The following day, when Uncle Brownie and Bucky sing a song while throwing Jackie's stuff in the river, William shows up and informs Brownie that their sacred ceremony is complete and they have achieved its purpose. Meanwhile, the truck driver Miles and store owners Rob and Cleo confront Bear about the stolen truck and make him realize all his past mistakes. They tell him that they know he and the Rez Dogs stole steaks, trucks, and whatnot, but they don't want to see him in jail. As a thank you for not turning him in, Bear decides to help Miles unload his truck while fighting his inner demons for a crime-free life ahead. To be productive in his life, Bear decides to get a job. Soon, he finds one at a construction site with Cheese's uncle, Charlie. But on the very first day, he is confronted with the past as Daniel's father, Danny, works there too. Since his son's death, Danny doesn't talk much and prefers working alone. While having a lunchtime conversation with the guys, Bear blatantly calls out Danny for being a terrible dad, but soon realizes his mistake. To lessen the burden of regret, he approaches Danny and apologizes for his rude behavior. In this emotional conversation, Danny accepts being reckless throughout his life. His mistakes claimed his son's life, tearing his entire family apart. Instead of making mistakes and learning from them, he instructs Bear to understand that whatever he does has consequences, and he has to be good the first time round. As the two are about to leave for home, they witness a bright, shiny cloud in the sky, as if Daniel had been listening to their conversation all along. Everything looks good for Bear, as he has earned his first pay, but his happiness soon vanishes after he sees Alora outside his window. While Bear showers non-stop insults on Alora, the girl is frozen in place, crying over something she wants her friend to know. She has come back because her grandma is dying. Amidst a solemn gathering of people paying their last respects to Grandma Mabel, Bear sets aside his differences with Alora to be by her side in her time of need. While Willie consoles Alora with kind words, Bear embraces her, despite their recent argument over Jackie. Out of nowhere, Rita's friend and Alora's aunt Teeny walks inside the room, shocking everyone around, especially Officer Big, who was romantically involved with her in the past. After Cookie's death, Teeny couldn't bear the pain and left the town, never to return again. As the day unfolds, Teeny finds herself drawn to Alora, recognizing an undeniable resemblance between her and Cookie. During the gathering, Bear once again sees the spirit's vision, who instructs him to comfort Alora with all his heart. After having a meal together, the women recall their teenage stories, while the kids seem to get closer to each other, with Bear and Jackie even sleeping on the same couch. Alora wakes up the next day, only to learn that her grandma has left the world for the next journey. As mourners gather around Mabel's bed, singing and weeping, Alora finds herself overwhelmed with emotions. She slips out of the room, seeking solace in the open air. Alone with her thoughts, she allows herself to let go of the feelings she had been suppressing, finally releasing the pain and sorrow building up inside her. Before leaving for her last destination, Grandma Mabel's spirit shows up and says goodbye to Alora, thanking her for being there in her final days. After a few days, Rita, Teeny, Bev, and Natalie decide to attend the yearly Indian Health Services Conference, which turns into a dating spot for all the singles. With hopes of finding a partner at the conference, the women set out to make the most of their trip. Rita, who has her sights set on Sam, one of the speakers, has a chance encounter with him at the pool, and the two bond over their shared interests. As the night falls, the group gets dressed to party and dance to the song their late friend Cookie used to lead them in. After a few drinks, they start reminiscing about their childhoods and how they have all grown into women with responsibilities. The expectations of being a traditional Native woman were high for all of them, but Teeny was never one to conform to those norms. Things then get heated when the topic of Teeny's seemingly easy life comes up. While Teeny tries to show her friends the hard side of her life, Rita points out how she abandoned the group after Cookie's death. Instead of defending herself, Teeny storms out of the room. Later that night, Bev and Natalie decide to start snagging, and Rita gathers her courage to approach Sam. However, she turns around when she sees him with a younger woman. Unaware, he pushes the woman's hand away. Feeling down, Rita goes to the bathroom, only to find Teeny there. The two engage in an emotional conversation, with Rita expressing her confusion about why people talk about honoring women when no one seems to be doing anything for them. As Teeny agrees to the statement and tries to cheer her friend up, they both realize that they miss the old days when they could just sit on bed together and watch TV without any expectations from the world. While Sam waits for Rita at the bar, hoping she'll show up, the friends opt for a cozy night in their room, indulging in junk food and binging TV. Because of throwing a party in his mother's absence, Bear is forced to attend the Native American Reclamation and Decolonization Symposium Youth Summit. But it's not just Bear who's been lured there, since the other Rez Dogs and NDN Mafia members have been tempted with promises of gift cards. As the conference begins, two young influencers take the stage, Miss Matriarch and a young elder. The audience doesn't seem too interested in what Miss Matriarch has to say, but the greed for the gift cards has everyone attend the conference till the end. Before they know it, all the youngsters are being forced to participate in the first activity of the conference, writing about their happy memories. As everyone gathers to share their experiences, Miss Matriarch has a reluctant Jackie also stand up and open up about the time her late brother taught her how to ride a bike. With the first activity concluded, Miss Matriarch and young elder introduce the potato dance, a game designed to foster trust and cooperation among the group's young members. Bear finds himself partnered with Jackie, whom he still views as an enemy. However, for the sake of the game, he and Jackie work together to keep their potato afloat and eventually stand victorious. During a new task, Bear is partnered with Alora, but despite some initial tension between them, they manage to overcome their differences and win the game. The next challenge is then revealed to be catching your partner during a fall, with Willie being assigned to Jackie. Willie's deep-seated animosity towards Jackie causes her to let rage get the best of her, resulting in a devastating drop and a hurtful comment about Jackie's late brother. As Willie was unaware of her brother's passing, she apologizes to Jackie for her words, but despite her remorseful approach, Jackie does not welcome her with open arms. After the symposium, Alora approaches Bear to have a talk, but Bear argues with her for taking Jackie's side and blames her for not apologizing after leaving. However, Alora tells him that he fails to see how apologetic she is, and leaves. While Cheese is spending the day with his Uncle Charlie, the police raid the house and take both of them into custody, explaining that Uncle Charlie has been growing cannabis plants. With Uncle Charlie behind bars, Cheese is left without a proper guardian and is forced to stay in a group home until a decision can be made about his future. Unfortunately for Cheese, the owner of the house, Gene, is not exactly the most pleasant person to be around. He gives Cheese a hard time by speaking rudely to him and assigning him the unpleasant task of cleaning the commode. On top of that, Gene forbids Cheese from using cell phones. Despite this, Cheese puts on a brave face and tries to fit in by dutifully cleaning the bathroom as ordered. During the cleaning, Cheese meets Tino, an old group home resident who pushes into the bathroom in a hurry to relieve himself. Having witnessed Cheese's arrest, Jackie approaches the Rez Dogs, despite their hostilities, informing them of the situation. But before leaving, Willie again apologizes to Jackie for her comment on her late brother, which mends their relationship, and they decide to work together to free Cheese. As the new group bands together, Alora, by disguising herself as Cheese's aunt, approaches Gene, asking him to release Cheese. However, the man refuses to let Cheese go without a court order. In the meantime, the rest of the crew tries to convince Cheese to sneak out of the window to run away, but he insists that they find a legal way to free him. During his stay at the home, Cheese also befriends the oldest resident, Julio, who helps him contact Irene, the older lady he met in the IHS clinic, by covertly lending Cheese his cell phone. At night, Cheese manages to contact Irene and assures his safety as well as his soon visit to her house. As the days pass, Cheese spends more time with Tino and Julio. Later, he even shares the reason behind Daniel's death with Tino, explaining that he consciously tries to be kind to others to prevent them from taking their own lives. After a few days, Officer Big finally comes to Cheese's rescue and informs him that he will be taken to a replacement home, but instead takes him straight to Irene's house, where his adopted grandmother and friends welcome him with open arms. Sometime later, Big is tasked with finding a lost shipment of catfish. Reluctantly, he heads to the salvage yard to ask Kenny Boy about the case. But things take a turn for the worse when Big accidentally drinks a drugged soda there, causing him to experience wild hallucinations and overwhelming guilt for Cookie's death, since he was the cop who was following Cookie and Rodney when they crashed to death. Luckily, Kenny Boy steps in to help him overcome his drug-induced haze. As they venture into the forest, Big and Kenny Boy stumble upon a shocking sight: a secret organization of white supremacists, including the governor, dressed in robes and masks, performing a bizarre ritual involving sexual acts with a catfish in front of a giant owl. Having solved the case of the missing catfish, Big wants to arrest the thieves, but he and Kenny are ambushed, battered, and tied to a tree by the cultists' security. Stranded and helpless, Big and Kenny Boy bond unexpectedly while facing impending doom. Suddenly, Deer Lady appears out of nowhere to rescue them, allowing Big to call for backup, and with it, arrest the cultists. With all the mayhem dealt with, an unaware Big decides to head home when Bigfoot crosses the road behind him. With Willie's and Bear's graduation around the corner, their teacher hands them letters they wrote to their future selves in their freshman years. However, when Willie also receives Daniel's letter, she decides to give it to his mother and her aunt Hokti, who is currently in prison and sometimes joined by a cheerful spirit named Graham. Despite a cold reception, Hokti connects with Willie and seeks advice regarding the growing gap between the Reservation Dogs. Hokti guides Willie to feel the prayer of her ancestors' spirits, which calms her nerves and inspires her to help those who wish to be helped. Encouraged and determined, Willie returns home and invites the Rez Dogs to connect through the same prayers. But after they fail to feel any connection, she shows them Daniel's letter. Despite their busy schedules and hard lives, they decide to honor Daniel's memory by staying together and going to California. While on the journey to fulfill Daniel's wish, the Rez Dogs and Jackie plan to sneak into the salvage yard to steal Mabel's car. But before they can execute their plan, they get caught by Kenny Boy. Surprisingly, Kenny Boy lets them borrow the car to fulfill their friend's dream. With Alora driving, the group sets off on their California adventure with the ultimate goal of seeing the beach. On their way, they stop at a restaurant to have lunch. However, their excitement soon turns to despair when they find out their car has been stolen, taking away not only their belongings, but also Daniel's letter expressing his love for Alora. Just when they thought their dream had been shattered, a man who looks like Jesus appears out of nowhere and shows them the way to the beach, 10 miles from their current location. As they follow Jesus, the group embarks on the 10-mile journey to the beach. They spend the night at a homeless encampment, but their plans take an unexpected turn when the police raid the area, forcing them to seek refuge elsewhere. Undeterred by the setback, the group bravely walks the remaining 5 miles to the beach. Despite facing some obstacles along the way, they finally reach their destination. As they stand on the beach, Cheese leads the group in a prayer as they fondly remember Daniel. They then embrace each other in a circle, immersing themselves in the water, letting go of their grief and despair. In a surreal moment, they feel Daniel's spirit join them, providing a sense of closure and comfort. With the group now guilt-free and content, Alora expresses her commitment in finding the lost car and repay Kenny Boy, while Bear reveals to the group that he will not go back home with them.
Blessed are those who have not seen, and yet still believe. I still believe.